In our churches, there are some who would say that if you were putting out a vision to your young people, hey, you need to go, and some of you need to think about going into government, and not doing so as a Christian zealot, but just doing so as somebody who is going to live out their convictions in there. There are some authors, and you and I both know them, that would say, no, that's a fool's errand. Faithful presence, that's all we're looking for, not so much that Daniel options and all those, you're familiar with all the terms. Can you give any guidance on how we ought to be thinking about raising people up to go into culture that way? We talk about the business world. What about the political world?
Yeah. Well, I think Christians ought to just they ought to rush into every single one of those fields that we're allowed into. I mean, I do think there's a possibility that you might not be able to get a government job unless you deny certain Orthodox Christian beliefs. That's possible. It's already sort of true in some sectors. So in other words, any place we're allowed. Again, remember, in the Middle Ages, in medieval times, the Jews could not teach. For example, in Britain, they couldn't teach at Oxford or Cambridge. Actually, non-Anglicans, even people like you, couldn't teach at Oxford, and they wouldn't even allow non-Anglicans to go to Oxford and Cambridge until like the middle of the 1800s. The Jews were, they obviously couldn't have government jobs. They couldn't, teach in the elite institutions. That might happen to us, but I don't think so. But it might. The point is, we ought to be everywhere. And not just passively, just we should be everywhere in every part of culture, and we should not seal off our private life and our private beliefs from our public life, and do as much as we possibly can. Now, when you said not as zealots, you're probably meaning, honestly, what the Bible says about, the Bible is general enough that you can be a Christian in either political party. I'll put it that way. And we ought to have lots of Christians in both political parties. And they should not be messianic about their own party, but they should actually feel more solidarity with the other Christians in the other party, and that they should be willing to do bipartisan things, and we should be learning from each other and listening to each other, and not think that their party is the messianic one, the other party is the party of Satan, and which is where an awful lot of people are. So if Christians actually went into both parties and into government, into politics, into both parties, and just had that attitude that the only person who's going to save the world is Jesus Christ at the end, and neither political party can actually save the world, and neither political party is Satan either. That would be great. In fact, a lot of non-Christians here believe that the government, that our society needs that. People in the parties who don't think the other party is the spawn of hell. And if Christians could just do that, they would be, not apart from whatever their policy decisions are, that would be great. So yeah, I would never say stay out of government or politics. Why? Why stay out of any place that we're allowed into?